part of the Earglue Media family of podcasts.
You're listening to the Cantina Cast, your home for thought-provoking Star Wars talk. Join Albert and Jonesy in breaking down the latest news, trailers, movies, and of course, your favorite characters from a galaxy far, far away.
There we go.
All right. Hey, we're good. We're live here. Oh, hey, how about that? Hey, everybody. It's Mike and Albert from the Cantina Cast. Well, I'm still part of the Cantina Cast, so I guess
You've never left, Mike.
I'm like the drunk that's over in the side of the corner, the guy that's been there, and you can't get rid of him.
Yep.
Occasionally you throw me out in the alley now and then. You're like, get out, you bum. I'm that guy, I guess. You could say that. So tonight what we're doing on the Earglue Media YouTube channel, which doesn't really make much sense because you'd probably want to do it on on the Cantina Cast one, but I didn't do that for a few reasons. I won't get into that too much, but we'll see how this goes. This is like our testing thing. See if this works out. I hope we can do this because streaming is something I want to get into more. Hopefully it works out. I make no promises. This could turn into a disaster. But normally this show, the Cantina After Dark, is a more mature show. So this, a warning. I could swear. Albert won't. Albert will roll his eyes and he'll yell at me. He'll say he's going to try to censor me because this is going to appear on our feed, the Cantina Cast feed. Yeah, he's waving his fingers. Hey, Darth Megatron, what's up?
What's up?
So, he's going to say, we got Chris. Hello. People joining the chat here. Sorry. So, there might be some swearing. I doubt it'll be tonight or anything. I will say this, Albert. Now, you'd said, can we put this on the iTunes feed? Will that be a problem if I swear? Now, I promise you I will clean it up and put it on the regular feed.
We can just beep it out and then throw the explicit tag or whatever we do when we post it up to Libsyn and all that. So,
well, yeah, we could do that. Be forewarned. I'll make it so Albert doesn't yell at me later on and make me feel guilty about things. But Albert's drinking here tonight. Look at that, huh?
I am.
Fancy.
This is what's known as a Moscow Mule, and it doesn't have any mule nor does it have any Moscow. So it's
what does that say on there? What does that say? I couldn't see that.
This is a cup I got at Classic Game Fest here in Austin last year.
Oh, all right, that's pretty cool.
Yeah, so it holds about 20 cups of coffee and gets me through the day. So I'll fill that up once in the morning. It'll take me all through about 24 hours straight.
No.
Yeah, so it's good. But
good.
Yeah, no, it's decaf coffee.
See, me on the other hand.
Oh, well, you got some iced tea there. That's awesome.
Yeah, exactly.
You drink your tea with no ice too.
Yeah. No, this is that's some whiskey there. So it's Cantina After Dark. So, and you'd mentioned it earlier today when we were talking about something. So I had to indulge, if you will.
Yeah, as we were talking about hookers and blow.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Yes, that was the motto of EGM, the hookers and blow. That actually goes back to last year, which it's crazy to even think about it. We're doing this now, and it's already been a year since we were out in Chicago and that crazy time. And I laughed. I think it was JW who posted something in our Discord that it was snowing, and I was laughing because I thought about the time we were all getting in the car and you threw a snowball at me, which was real nice. Thank you, by the way. Because you never saw snow. So it's just crazy to think a year ago where we were and now with the pandemic and everybody in isolation and it's just the weirdest time. It's strange because if this had happened a year ago, obviously we wouldn't be meeting up. Nothing would have happened. I don't know. That'd be crazy. I don't even think, well, we can jump in this a little bit because we've talked about it before with Celebration. I don't think it's going to happen.
No,
the governor of California said not till 2021, I believe, right? So,
right.
They haven't made. Yeah, go ahead.
I'll say there's a lot of mitigating factors that'll play into whether or not people are allowed to come back for anything, really. But yeah, I'm with you. I don't see Star Wars Celebration happening this year, unfortunately. I thought they had sent something out already. And correct me, and so maybe you guys know. I thought they had sent an email out saying, "Hey, it's been postponed. We're working through all the details. More to come." That kind of thing, but. Maybe not.
I didn't see that yet. I know, when they talk about sports, being in a limited, right? No crowds maybe, or even a lower capacity crowd. You can't do that with Celebration.
Yeah.
You can't do that with a con. It's too big and people are around each other. You can't do that. So in my mind, it's just going to be pushed back till maybe next April.
Next year. Yeah.
next April, which wouldn't be bad because maybe we could plan and maybe
we'll get back in
maybe we could get into it. Maybe the flight will be cheaper and that won't be so bad. And we'll be like, hey, we'll go ourselves. So
may work in our favor. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, we'll see. We shall see. I suspect we'll probably get an announcement. I would say within a month, right? We'll probably get an announcement and then they'll say they're pushing it back. Do they release? Here's my question though. If they push it back to say April of next year, which isn't a bad thing. Obviously, they were going to have announcements and stuff. Did they hold on to those?
I think if whatever they're going to announce also gets pushed back, maybe I can see that.
Well, that's true because they are pushing production back with things, right? But maybe you'll see like a Mandalorian trailer could drop.
Yeah, maybe. Or we start seeing artwork for things like I can see them releasing pre-production stuff ahead of time, ahead of the schedule, just to keep the interest going. Because otherwise, I mean, if they push this thing out, right, and they keep pushing it out, we're not getting anything new in terms of content.
Yeah.
So they've got to keep us interested. So why not release, I don't know, pre-production material, art of that kind of stuff, and just kind of help build the hype as we get closer. And maybe that stuff was probably going to be planned later on. I don't know. There's probably things they could do there, but that would be my guess. If they're going to release anything prior to, they would
maybe
be similar.
Maybe some like book announcements or something like that. I think that would be, and Chris brings up a good point here. Will we get our money back? If like, say, I believe Chris already purchased tickets and I think Josh did.
Why are you calling him Chris?
I don't know why, because it says Chris. I don't know, but in any case, sorry, Jonesy. I don't know. I see your name up here and I get thrown off. But anyway, I'll take your name off so I can call you Jonesy now. But hey, it's the After Dark show. Anything goes. I don't think you would. I don't unless I think maybe they would if you decided, hey, I'm not going to go. Give me my money back. And which is why they'll probably push it back even further than say next April. But they'll probably do it next August, where people who didn't want to go will say, all right, I don't want to go. Give me my money back. But those that did want to go, it gets honored to the next one, and then they could resell those spots, I guess. Yeah, which makes sense. I don't think it would be a problem.
I mean, if they fall in line with most other organizations, companies, I mean, you think about it, there's all kinds of events that were planned this year, and just out of pure goodwill, everybody's getting refunded. As hard as it is for these companies to suck it up, they're doing that. The only ones that I know that aren't refunding exactly 100% are like airlines. They were early on, they were just saying, you've got a credit and you can use it for up to a year or something like that. But
so they're gonna go like Carnival Cruise type of thing, right?
I'm not going there for.
I could see Disney doing that though.
That's
Disney would be that type. I think. I don't know, possibly.
They got the cojones to do it. So
yeah, true. Well, they're hurting too, man. Everybody's hurting. So that'll be pretty interesting. But as I was saying, I think you'll get maybe some novel announcements.
Yeah.
Maybe if they were going to do like another animated series where it couldn't really wait, maybe you get something like that. But I think, like you said, a lot of things are getting pushed back anyway. Like we're lucky The Mandalorian finished when it did.
Exactly.
So we probably will get that in October. Maybe the second half of it might be delayed a little bit, but the first half, it's kind of like The Walking Dead. I've watched The Walking Dead, and apparently I didn't know this, and this revealed because of the pandemic is that last episode that they finished it, but they were adding the sound effects and the visual effects like 2 weeks before it premiered. I had no idea it was like that. I didn't know that was like that at all, how the studio worked. So you got to be thinking like The Mandalorian, they got maybe 4 episodes done maybe. And then like the other ones before it gets to the date, they touch it up or whatever. So that's pretty interesting. I didn't realize that's how it worked. So now The Walking Dead ended on episode 15. The finale is still out there. So we got a cliffhanger now.
Wow.
Although The Walking Dead is like a love-hate thing with me. Kind of like Star Wars these days. It's a love-hate thing with me.
Yeah, no, I know that.
Although I love Star Wars more than The Walking Dead. I mean, yeah.
How many seasons is Walking Dead now then? Is it
10? It's 10.
Okay.
Yes.
And this is the final season? They're not doing
No. Oh, no. It's just ramping up, my friend. No, they did 10 seasons. They're going to probably do 2 more of the main show. Then we got the World Beyond. Then you got Fear the Walking Dead. And then they're going to do the Rick Grimes movie. So there's a lot out there. They're expanding the universe. But the main show probably should have ended 2 years ago. But it didn't. So, here's where we are.
What is left to tell about Rick Grimes? Is he still alive? I thought he died.
Oh yeah, he's alive. He survived the bridge blowing up, and now he's going to be in this movie. Yeah, so who knows where they're going with that?
Okay.
We'll see. But
all right.
In any case, enough pandemic stuff. So hopefully things are a little bit better. But the one thing I want to mention, well, let's talk about the High Republic, because this is something I've been quiet on. And
You've
on the
been
main
very quiet, and I don't know if that's
no, it's a bad thing. It's a bad thing.
Yeah,
It is
no
because
middle ground there.
and I'm surprised because when it came out, and I'm like, oh, I'm going to be on the show, but thankfully you had Maggie on. You had Maggie on the show, and then you had Michaela on the show.
Yeah.
Two classy ladies who know their stuff, and that was great. And I've been on the show, I would have been a very cynical kind of guy right at the moment. Now, for me, I don't see this going too far, the High Republic. I can't see, maybe get to phase 2, but that's it. And it's all going to be novels and stuff, and maybe a few short animation things. I don't think it's going to be what people think, because I don't think it's going to be all that great. From what I've seen so far, it doesn't look all that great. I don't know why I feel that way. Is it because maybe it's just me and I'm soured on a lot of things right now with Star Wars, and we'll get into that whole other conversation in a second. But for me, again, I maybe it's a hang up I have, Albert, right? With the 300 years, is 300, 200 years, whatever it is before the Phantom Menace. I have an issue with that.
What's the issue? Is it not far enough back?
I think so. I really do. And and the whole idea that Yoda would probably show up, which kind of, I'm not sure. I like that. You know what I mean? Because it's like, we don't need to see him anymore. Now we get the child, which I'll get into when we get to that point. But you know what I mean? Like, that seems to be a hang up for me. And then when you read through these things, it's like, all right, these Jedi, they're not hitting a chord with me. And not only that, like the bad guys, right? The Nell or whatever they call there, the Nile or whatever.
Yeah.
They don't seem...
They're not Sith. They're not...
Yeah, they're not like mythical in the sense of like magic or a sorcerer or something like that could kind of balance out the Jedi there.
Yeah.
That's kind of my hang up on this. I don't know. What am I... I mean, I want to give it a shot. Don't get me wrong.
What you're saying is, so Maggie and I, when we talked about this, kind of said the same things. Like when we were talking about some of the things that we felt were shortcomings or potentially could be issues with this new series, I think you hit on every single one of them. One, it's not far enough back, so we're still going to get Yoda, and hopefully we don't. I mean, if he's there, then like you said, and maybe he's in the background, he's a very ancillary character that really just interacts every once in a while, but doesn't really impact the storyline. So there's one. Number two, I'm a magic sorcerer in D&D. Okay, Jonesy needs to cut off the.
Okay, yeah, we'll shut him off. We might not call you now, Jonesy.
Spit his tab. But anyways, so that's one. The other drawbacks are, so far we haven't gotten a lot of information, and I agree with you. Although I'm optimistic about this more than I am pessimistic. We don't have enough information about these new Jedi. They look very goody two shoes. It doesn't seem like there's going to be a lot of conflict there. And maybe that, and I think that's where the challenge is. How do you take these really good natured people that are so high and mighty, and really challenge them, especially when you don't have something like a dark side character or dark side users or Sith or whoever it may be, really, becoming the antagonist for them and breaking them down. Maybe you trust in these, pirates and scavengers, what are they called? The Niles or
the Vikings of the space Vikings, or whatever you want to call. Yeah, those guys. The Nile. I think it's the Nile, right? Yeah,
I think that's right.
Because Nile. Yeah, something like that. Yeah.
So I don't know. I mean, all that's to be determined. If they turn out to be really cool, horrible people, I think there's a good contrast there. But if not, then I don't know.
Well, let me ask you this. You know what would probably save it for me is if the Sith are in the background, kind of pulling some of those strings. They don't have to be in the forefront all the time. Just kind of like there, almost like I would say even Yoda. Like he's there, but he's not really there. You see him in the background. He has a special moment, almost like you could say with Plo Koon in the Clone Wars, where he has those moments that are meaningful, but he's not there all the time. Like he's just like one and kind of takes off. You don't see him for 8-9 episodes or whatever. He's kind of there. Like he had that episode with the clones where it was kind of special, and then you didn't see him for a while, right? Something like that wouldn't be bad. But seeing the Sith maybe pulling the strings in the background, that would work. But these Jedi, to me, like they don't, as perfect as they seem, and that's their flaw, right? That they're too perfect, right? This is their problem. But didn't we already get that with the Phantom Menace, like the prequel trilogy? I mean, they were kind of high in money, but they weren't perfect. But they were arrogant like that, I could say, because this is more. It's, to me, I guess it seems more of the same.
Yeah.
But
I think we're gonna get arrogance times 10 with these guys. Like they already look really prissy. They already look like they're. I mean,
polished.
You just look at their gowns. I mean, you look at like Mace Windu. You look at any of the Jedi and the Jedi Council, and they look more rugged, more humble, right? Yeah. And these guys, have fancy jewelry. They've got gems. They look like stuff from you see from the Old Republic.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, I think they're going to be even further on the high and mighty scale, which I think could be interesting, honestly. Almost to the point where we kind of hate them, but we want. It's like I think it's going to be a train wreck watching a
Yeah.
Jedi Council function at this with this kind of level of arrogance that they have.
Fair enough. Fair enough. I just don't see this going beyond phase 2, really. Or if it does, it's not going to be in the bigger things like TV. And I could be wrong. I could be completely wrong.
They would have to. They would have to hit it out of the park. I don't think they're going to invest a lot of time and money into TV, television, movies, that sort of thing. If if these books don't sell well, and I think that's kind of an issue too, because I mean, not everybody's out reading books. Well, maybe now they are right now. Or maybe they timed this perfectly, but
Yeah, maybe.
but yeah, I mean, there's not that many people out there. I mean, comparatively speaking, that are reading Star Wars novels. I mean, how do you get? There's tons of novels out there, a lot of competition. How do you get new people interested in the franchise through books and novels? I think that's a challenge in itself. So, one other thing too is, they've already said that we're not going to see the Sith. They've said we're
Yeah.
right. They've made that very clear. I don't believe them. Only because I believe the formula of Star Wars is, Jedi and Sith, good and bad, dark side, light side, that kind of thing. And I think that they do introduce some kind of dark side character or a Sith character or maybe somebody from like Dathomir. I don't know, right, the dark side magic type stuff. I think that comes in at some point, but you've got to. I was going to ask, how do we know how old, or maybe some of the guys can look it up for Muns and how long they live.
I thought it was like 100. I thought it was a while. Like I think it is. I could be wrong because it would be nice if Darth Tenenbaum and Darth Plagueis get introduced in here. I think that's their card that they're holding to the vest. Like when things seem to be sliding down, they can say, "Oh, it's Darth Plagueis introduced," and everyone's like, "Oh yeah, we want that. Yeah, I definitely want that." And even if it's like Yoda and him interacting, which would be pretty darn cool. Like that would kind of. I think that would be more intriguing to people, but I think they're going to try this first. What their plan was, I'll give them this credit. They did plan this out, unlike the sequel trilogy, which I guess, it's funny because I've said this before on the show. Like I've hinted at it. And I think when we were doing one of the reviews about the Rise of Skywalker, I said there are moments where you see something, you're like, oh yeah, this was planned. Then you see all these other moments, you're like, no, they kind of just threw dots at this. Right. Maybe this was planned. They didn't flush this out. It's like I did it. Basically, like I came up with this. It's like this whole Cantina cast fiasco. It's a kind of a crazy show, but I'll give them that. At least they planned it out. What they planned, I don't know if I'm going to like it. I don't know if it's going to appeal to me in the masses so much. But again, even the books themselves, the novels are kind of I don't want to call them a novelty, but they're like niche. That's my, it's more of a niche. There's like casual fans aren't sinking their teeth into it. I do because I've been a fan, so I do that. But there's other fans like that'll go and that's exclusive. That's their thing. That's their wheelhouse. Me, on the other hand, no. The comics and this, the books are kind of losing me. I've yet to find anything too spectacular. But anyway, enough about that. We won't downplay or badmouth that too much. I'm going to give it a shot, like I do with all things with Star Wars. If I don't like it, I just walk away and go on and have another pizza of something else that I like, right? That's our analogy we're using, or am I going to use whiskey? Is that
whiskey and beer and pizza? Before you move on, I just want to mention. So Jonesy brought up a good point that I want to acknowledge because we know of the Lost 20.
Yeah. So I want to see more.
Yeah, I'd like to see more of those. And he mentioned a master walking out, but yeah, one of those guys leaving would be interesting. So. Or even seeing the beginning. Maybe we see the very first one. I don't know. They never really say how far back it goes, but maybe we see the first one and start to see the cracks in the dam, or start to see the wall starting to kind of come down as each of these begin to leave. And who do they become? What do they do? I think there's a great story there. Probably way more interesting than the actual Jedi Council, right?
Yeah, well, the conflict is what sells. That's what you want. You want that turmoil. You want that, relatable thing where you're not going to do. You think you're going to do this, but you end up doing that. It's almost like the last Ahsoka arc that they did with the Clone Wars, right? She had one thing and then she finds out another thing and she kind of goes on this little journey. I hope we get that. I don't want these people to be like hollow, which is what I felt the sequel trilogy characters were really hollow, most of them, in my opinion. I know others disagree. That's fine. We can disagree. That no big deal. But anyway.
We're gonna have a better shot of last comment. Promise.
Yeah.
I think we have a better shot of these guys being not hollow because they're going to be in novels.
You can flush it out more.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you can do a lot more with it. Like I said, when we talked about the Rise of Skywalker novelization, that was a much better story because it was told in a book than what we got on screen. As wonderful as it looked and as wonderful as it sounded, um, because it was a novel, because we got to spend moments and we were allowed to breathe as that novel was happening, where we didn't feel like we didn't really get a chance to even catch our breath in the movies. I think
Mhm.
I think that's going to pay off for them to really, and I think they kind of need this, right? If they jumped into a High Republic movie out of the gate, I don't know, maybe they'd have to have a lot of really good things in place for that to happen and be successful. But I think slow rolling this in from a book, I think gives them a better opportunity to world build easier, allow you to really develop and relate to the characters or find them interesting, and from there they can build a good foundation to build a new sequel trilogy or whatever the movies are.
Mhm.
Because they got a good foundation there.
Fair enough. Those are good points. Just gonna give it a shot. We'll see where we go.
Yeah.
All right. Next, you had asked me on the last episode, 319. Yes, you did, sir.
Okay.
What I was looking forward to with the Star Wars, and I
You
kind of
said nothing. Next one.
yeah.
Next question.
Well, I tiptoed because I said I want to save that for Cad because Cad's more of the show that's kind of more adult oriented, and it's not on the main feed where it's going to kind of, at least people know what you're getting when you get Cantina after dark. It's going to be kind of an unfiltered opinion. I mean,
Yeah.
granted, the opinions on the regular show are the opinions; they're not filtered down or anything. It's just more PG. I guess here I can be more, or whoever we can be a little more loose, I guess you could say. But for me, obviously, I'll start with the positive. The Mandalorian, of course. Although I have a few issues with that, with the Mandalorian, with the child, because I said it on the show Mando Monday. We got to do something with the child, all right? Because
they are doing something. They're developing a character. They're taking care of him.
But that's the problem. We're taking this. We're going to the well too much with him. That's my thing. I don't know. I mean, we've had rumors that Rosario Dawson is going to do Ahsoka, which I don't know. I find that whole thing weird that she's going to play Ahsoka. I know she's wanted to play Ahsoka. She's lobbied for it. But the funny thing is that this leaked. And the only reason I buy the leak is because of Jason, our friend at Making Star Wars, is where I believe it because he even talked about it, where I'm like, okay, this is possible. But I'm thinking to myself last year, I'm like, wait a minute. We had no idea about the child at all. And you would think Ahsoka's on that level of keeping the secret, right?
Mm-hmm.
So why would they let this out now? Unless I don't know what else they could do to surprise us. You got to think they would want to something like that. They would want to keep big, because I thought we were going to see her in the flashback with the droid. I thought you were going to get the lightsabers through the droid, and she's the one who saved the child, the Mandalorian and stuff, and all that other stuff. But that didn't happen. So I'm just curious. What do you think of that whole rumor? Do you think you buy it? Don't buy it? Maybe not.
Yeah, I buy it. I don't know. I can't say. I won't say that it was. It feels like it was planned from the very beginning, and maybe that's what you're trying to hint at.
Mm-hmm.
It could be. I don't know. Dave Filoni's behind it, and you've got to think he's going to want a way to get her back into the show. But he already had. I mean, at least in the background, there was already an idea that there was going to be this follow up story to Rebels. So
yeah,
he didn't really have to play this card. But no, I don't. As far as the rumor itself, I think it's true. Whether it's Rosario Dawson or whoever else, I don't really have an opinion one way or the other. I've never even seen anything Rosario Dawson's been in. I know that sounds.
Oh, I've seen some stuff.
Horrible.
Oh, I saw Zombieland too. She was in the other. I like her. I like her as a character.
Yeah.
Her politics and all that other stuff, I could care less with. But that's celebrities. They're all like that. I could care less. It's white noise to me. But her acting ability is fine. I don't have a problem with that at all. I think she's fine. I think she could do it. Now I know people are upset because a lot of people said, "Oh, well, Ashley is Ahsoka." I get that, but I guess you could say Alec Guinness was Obi-Wan, right? And you could say Harrison Ford was Han Solo, but guess what?
Yeah.
They did that. Now, Ashley, I think she could do it live action, but here, I don't know. I guess you got to go with the, I don't know. I mean, why would you go with that? Yeah.
So my opinion on this, and I've said this in the show recently, I think too. I think Maggie and I were talking about this. If not on the air, we were talking about it off air, but I've always been one to feel like the characters are bigger than the actors. And I know that was blasphemous 2 years ago when Carrie passed. Like, I didn't even want to say that. I felt it, but I was like, I'm keeping quiet because there's so many, there's a lot of emotion going on right now. People are very sensitive to it. So, but I've always felt like it is bigger than the actors. Like, I want these characters to live on beyond just the actors themselves. And so, whether that is having a character come on after the actors passed away or has quit the franchise and doesn't want to come back or whatever, um, I think it needs to happen. So, if whether it's Ashley, whether it's Rosario, I don't really care who it is, as long as the story's intriguing, they stay true to the character. Again, I think that's the only thing I'm looking for.
Yeah.
Um, I think for the other thing about Ahsoka is I do think she's going to come in there. I know, and the guys are talking about it right now. I think people have said, well, most people don't know who she is. And that's very true. A lot of people don't know who she is. As big as the Clone Wars is, as big as Star Wars Rebels is, a lot of the mainstream people, and I'm going to say the older people, and I'm going to caveat that here in just 1 second. I don't think they really know who Ahsoka is. My kids, and they're tainted, right? Because they have to watch this all the time. But if you watch Star Wars, if you're following Star Wars today's Star Wars, I think you know who she is. And even if you didn't, the things like they did when they introduced the Darksaber, I really felt like they didn't have to do that. That could have been anything, right?
It could have been Vader's saber for all we knew. It could have been anything. Yeah. So,
but I think that shows that they're willing to do this. They're willing to take a chance and introduce things that may or may not relate or resonate with their audience that they've just picked up. But if they do it well, then, I mean, how many people went out and looked up what a Darksaber is? It was
lots
chatter.
of people
Were talking about it. I mean, there's people that I know that are casual Star Wars fans, again, and they know what the Darksaber is now. They may not have gone and read the Wikipedia entry, but they at least did enough to go look at it and go, oh, okay, this is from somewhere else. And I think with something like Ahsoka, when you introduce her, that is going to be such a huge, there's going to be so much hype. There's going to be so much chatter, so much talk that it will, at that point, that is her entry mark. So I think those people will come on board, especially if they get somebody that's really, they can, play her really well and the character's developed and written really well. I don't think it's going to be an issue. I think people are going to just jump on board all together.
I do too. I think it's like that initial, it's like someone else playing Luke Skywalker or Han Solo. I think you kind of have to just get over it. You know what I mean? Like, I can't see anyone ever playing Luke Skywalker, but you're going to put it this way. Like, Luke Skywalker will always be Mark Hamill and Carrie Fisher will always be, obviously, Princess Leia. They're one and the same, as you've said several times on the show and everything. So someone else playing it, okay, I hope just make it yours. Stay true to what Mark Hamill and Carrie Fisher did. And even this with Ashley, as long as Rosario does her thing, I think with that in mind, I think we'll be all right. So I'm okay with it, especially with Ahsoka. I'm a little less like guarded as like I would be with the big three.
Yeah.
I think once, but even Solo. Yeah, go ahead.
No, you're going exactly. I can't remember what you were okay with his portrayal of Solo, right?
I didn't find it too bad. I think the thing is we're so programmed to see Harrison Ford as Solo.
Yeah.
And it was like 30 years too late. Like we should have did this, when Harrison was younger, it would have been great, but we didn't do that. And Solo, what I loved about Solo, I mean, it wasn't the greatest thing in the world, right? It wasn't the best Star Wars film, but there was a lot of callbacks it was a lot of like for the fans. Like there was a lot, you bring in Maul, the Crimson Dawn, all these little things that it was like, oh, that's kind of for us. I'm fine with them giving us like fan stuff like that only we're going to know. Like the Darksaber that comes out of nowhere and all this other stuff. Or like when the guy talks about the Siege of Mandalore, like we're only going to know about it. Like the casual people are going to be like, well, huh, what? I need to go look it up. Or I get in touch with my Star Wars friend Albert and Jonesy and Mike and ask what the hell that is. Exactly. So you don't need Wikipedia. You just come to us and we'll tell you. But so I don't have a problem with that too much. I found it a little crazy that people, but that just goes to show how much Ashley is loved by the fans and how much the character is now, because it's just so funny because back when she first appeared, Ahsoka, we were like, what the? Yeah, everyone's like, what are you, George? You finally jumped the shock. And then here we are. We all love her now. So it's a good thing. One thing I will say, obviously I'm looking forward to the Clone Wars, but we'll get to that in a second. But the thing I want to talk about real quick is this here, the behind the scenes thing with the Mandalorian. This was a surprise. Now it's funny because I posted something on our Instagram because they'd posted something on I guess it was just reminding you that it was streamed, but I took it as like it was a behind the scenes thing, and I'm like, oh, so I posted it, but that wasn't it. So a week later they did this. I'm like, oh, all right. So I was on the trail, so I was off. Now this I'm really looking forward to this because I'm curious how they what they're gonna say. Were they talking, how they covered up Baby Yoda or the child or whatever and all that stuff.
Yeah.
What was going on there? So I'm looking forward to what's going on there. I don't know. I'm curious what the effects. When George visited the set, they got to have something with him, right? You would think that. So, but what are your thoughts on this being announced? I'm surprised this hasn't come out sooner, right? I thought this would have been like, hey, the show's been over for a few months. Here you go now. Like you would think this would come out now, but we got to wait till May the 4th.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's hard to say it all. How much. It's hard to say what has been, again, going back to our initial conversation about what's been delayed, what's not. Was this always in the works? Or was this something that gotten greenlit and immediately, expedited because of everything that's happening? It's really hard to say. That all said, I don't really care because I'm pretty excited about it too. We're getting some behind the scenes footage and behind the scenes looks at one of the, the best things to come out of Star Wars here in a long time.
Yeah.
You've got a massive, massive following behind this now. I mean, again, I don't think we've ever talked about, you and I, at least on the show, but I mean, there are people that are Star Wars fans because of The Mandalorian. They bit into what is the Baby Yoda? Everybody was talking about it, right? And so they were, okay, well, I've got Disney Plus, or maybe I sign up for it. Maybe they watched a couple episodes free, whatever the case may be. It did bring a lot of new people into Star Wars. This is their Star Wars. And so to that end, something like this I think is what we need right now. Again, there's not a lot going on in terms of Star Wars. We're going to have to wait still a little bit longer. So something like this is a good way, and I think it's going to generate a lot of hype, a lot more excitement for people. I would hope that I'm kind of hoping selfishly that they'll do some I'm not say spoilers, but some sneak peeks of the next season in through this as well to kind of help build and generate the hype there.
I think they will. Yeah, there's going to be something in the background. They're kind of sneaky like that. They would put something in the background, and we'll watch a few things like, wait a minute, what's that? And it's going to tie into like the Gamorrean god, right? Like that statue of it. Like one of the things I'll say this, the one thing, and I'm not the biggest fan of The Last Jedi, right? We all know that. But the documentary, The Jedi and the Director, I think it was called, if I remember what it was, I did enjoy that. With as much as I don't like Rian Johnson's version of Star Wars, I enjoyed that documentary. That was really good, the behind the scenes, because they were very, and to their credit, and I even said it on the show when we talked about it, is they were pretty revealing. They didn't kind of hide things, which I was surprised by that they didn't do that. And I hope we get that with this here, because Star Wars documentaries or behind the scenes things are some of the best things you see. Empire Dreams is, you got to watch that on Disney Plus. I made my daughter watch it because it's so good. She wants to be a director, so I said, "Here, go watch this. This will be valuable." And it's one of my favorites documentaries of all time. So I am looking forward to this. I'm glad May 4th. It gives us something to look forward. It's only a few weeks away. It's not that bad, right? So I'm looking forward to this. And then of course you get the Clone Wars, which said they're coming back on the finale is going to be May 4th too. So that'll be pretty interesting as well. So I got that. So I got the Mandalorian. I got this documentary. I got the Clone Wars, which we should probably get. Well, let me ask you this, Albert. Is there anything? I said what I'm looking forward to. Is there anything that you're not looking forward to? We'll reverse it.
That I'm not looking forward to?
Yeah. Is there anything that's like, yeah, I could care less? Besides something like Porg books or something, or
I'm trying to think if there's anything I'm not looking forward to. If they, if that Maz Kanata series is greenlit,
I hope so.
That'll be one I am not looking forward to. No, I don't think there's anything I'm not looking forward to. I'm not gonna say desperate because I'm a gentleman, but I'm definitely pining for. I'm thirsty for more Star Wars. How about that? So yeah, I'm fine with all of it at this point.
Okay.
Just quickly, the guys were talking about whether or not the Cassian Andor series has been canned. Hadn't heard anything. Actually, today they released it. Mike, I sent you the link just now. Variety Magazine had a they broke the news this afternoon, probably like 4 or 5 o'clock p.m. Central this time. But they just announced what's his name, Stellan Skarsgård. Pull that up if you don't mind.
Yeah,
he's going to be joined there, and Kyle Soller have also just signed on as well. So whether or not it's been delayed or any of that, or because of all of this, who knows? Maybe. But at least they're still announcing things, so it has a pulse. If nothing else at this point.
Here we go. I got them up here on the screen now.
And I like
So,
that guy.
yeah.
He's been in everything.
Oh yeah, he's been in. He was in the Marvel. He was
Yes.
in. Yeah, he played
That's right.
the professor, the guy I liked him. But
Yeah.
he's been in a million things too. He's like the guy that played. What's his name there? He played on. What was it there? He was in. He played the guy Laura Santeca. He's been in a million things as well. I can't remember his name off the top of his head. Was he Swedish or something like that?
Max.
Yeah, Sadao or
Max
something.
Snyden.
Yeah, something like that. I'm saying Sadao. I don't even know what the hell I'm talking about, but you know who I'm talking about. But this guy's been in every movie as well. The guy here, I can't remember what he's in, but I've seen him, and I can't remember what the hell that was.
I haven't even looked at this article, to be honest. I saw the headlines. I came in, I was like, sweet, and then that's about as far as I got. So I haven't actually looked to see what Kyle Solar has been in. Solar.
I can't remember what he was in, but he might have been in some commercials too, where he plays that quirky, goofy, sarcastic guy. If I remember right, I don't know, but we'll see. But I mean, it's good. At least we're getting
your commercials, that's for sure.
Yeah, I do. But at least we're getting some news on that front, right? Because this is like the weird series, like this is like the stepchild that we don't talk about. Like we talk about it, it's in the background and things are happening, but we lose track of it. And then we're like, whatever happened to that? And then a few days later, boom, we get some news. It's like, oh, hey, you're still here in the family. I thought you would move to somewhere else, and stuff. So I'm curious what this is really going to be about the whole. I wonder if this will get pushed. We'll see this before we see the Obi-Wan now. I'm just curious if that'll be a thing because
or the Jabba series. Remember that one?
Oh, no. We don't want Jabba the Hutt. No. Oh, maybe Zero the Hutt. Yeah. Albert hates that when I do that. But anyway,
that's what I'm not looking forward to.
No. I don't think we'll ever. Zero the Hutt will never appear anywhere, and then next week we'll get like an animated short with him in it or something. But so there's nothing. See, you do have a critical eye with Star Wars. I'll give you that. You're not like me, who get grumpy and disgruntled about the new stuff, like the Disney stuff. I mean, don't get me wrong. I like Rogue One, The Mandalorian. There are good things, and even the sequel trilogy. I like some of that stuff that's there. Overall, I didn't. You tend to like it more than me, but you do have an opinion about it. You're very objective. I'll give you that, sir. So
I'm the Ahsoka Tano on the show. I'm trying to just walk that middle line,
balance,
not too far to the left, not too far to the right.
So you're the daughter of the Cantina cast.
Sure, that's fine.
Yeah, I'm the father. Jonesy's the son. Yeah, that works. That's a good analogy. I could see that. Yeah. Oh, let's see. Jonesy had something. I guess on that gentleman. Where's my mouse here? My mouse is all over the place.
His breakthrough came in 2011, where he starred in The Glass Menagerie.
What the hell is that? Doesn't sound. That sounds something on Pornhub, Jonesy. I mean, hey. Anyway, we're going to move on.
Yeah.
So let's get into what else we want to talk about. Oh, the Clone Wars. Let's get into the Clone Wars and predictions.
All right.
Because this is something we didn't really get into last episode. We talked about Ahsoka and where things were going with her and all that stuff. We'd mentioned that how things happen with Rex and her in these previous arcs are going to continue and flow into this next one and so forth. But what's your big prediction? I mean, of course, we've talked about the duel. I guess this is the big one. We should talk about it again, get it on the record. And just get it out there. Now, I know I gave my opinion. I don't know if you necessarily agree with it, but what do you think was going to happen with the duel? Because I said they're going to team up. But what are your thoughts? I think you said that with me.
On the episode we talked about it the first time, I think we were in agreement that they would team up. They may fight at first, and that's probably going to get halted. That would be actually my preference is mid-fight. Order 66 happens, and suddenly they realize they're both taking on shots and find themselves in this fight or flight kind of situation where they've got to team up. They released, hope we can talk about spoilers here, right? There was a screenshot that was released, and I don't know if it was officially or not, but someone posted this picture of Maul holding his hand out to her, kind of like "come with me" kind of thing.
I haven't seen that.
Maybe that's the moment. I don't know. Maybe it is. Maybe it's not. Maybe that's before. Maybe he's trying to convince her to come to the dark side. Who knows? But yeah, my bold prediction, which maybe isn't so bold these days because we've talked about it to death, and I know a lot of other people have talked about it, but them teaming up, and I think I think you've done the most analysis and the best analysis in citing that, when he talks to her about Lady Tano and there's kind of this mutual respect, that's a far cry from where we are right now and how their two paths are coming together. So something happens in between there that gets them to where we see them in Rebels. And this could be it, right? This could be the defining moment where they realize that they have to help each other, and there becomes a mutual respect there, so that becomes a more natural uh, relationship that we see in Rebels later down the road. So
Yeah.
that's the big bold prediction. I still have a lot of like, I want to know who's like death watches, and I don't mean the Mandalorians. I literally mean like who's going to die, who's walking out of these final 2 episodes in the Clone Wars, and we've got a lot of people out there like we've got all the clones, some of the more famous ones that we know, right?
Yeah.
We've got Clone Force 99, the Bad Batch. We've talked about them. Are they going to make it out? Which clones are impacted? Which ones are affected by the chip? How many of them took the chip out at this point? Because
Yeah.
Rex has already got his removed, right? I don't think we've seen that on screen. Who else?
Yeah, they
Wolf.
never. Yeah, Wolf took it out. Gregor, and those
Gregor's
are
got
the
his
three
out.
that we know of.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And how many more, right? I want to see like how many clones actually have this removed. It'd be great if we saw a lot of them, just because Rex has been doing all the work, or I mean, just something that would just really kind of change our opinion or our viewpoint on how we thought this thing was going to end. Would be fun to hear and see.
Yeah. One of the things I've mentioned it last episode, I mentioned before, is like I hope we get an episode where there's at least 5 minutes of like we got in Rebels where um Sabine was talking about what happened after that. Except I don't want any words. I want it to be very visual, like George would tell a story, and Dave would kind of do that, where you see a moment with Ahsoka on the run. Maybe she's the last. You close on her. You get one with Rex and going through things, and you get one with Vader, and maybe he's in his chambers and he has Ahsoka's lightsaber in his chambers, and then you see him walk out and he meets Tarkin and the Emperor on the bridge, and you see the Death Star. That would be pretty cool. It'd be like, oh wow, that's awesome. But I'd like to see Commander Cody have something resolved, because when he fires upon him, and then you see him when he's telling him to keep looking, he has this like voice where he was angry about it, like he didn't really want to do it, but he's following orders. I'd like to see a bit of like where his mindset is after that, especially knowing that like Rex took the chip out, everybody turned on the Jedi. You know what I mean? Like, what are we doing here? Maybe he takes it out and he goes on the run, or something.
What if Cody in the kind of is he the commander, or at least the personality type, to remove the chip and then have like have regrets about it, and then when Order 66 happens, he just falls in line anyways, because that is who he is. He's a soldier. He's been programmed. He needs to follow through, even though he may not morally agree with it. He's just going to follow orders to the T.
Maybe that would even put more grief if you see him in the end there, like where he's even more struggling than what he would be if, like, all right, it happened, I removed the chip, and now I realize this. Because the thing that is a mystery to me is you got Rex, Gregor, and Wolf off on their fishing trip there as the retired soldiers there, and they join the fight. You would think Clone Force 99 would not, Bad Batch would not have stopped, right? They would be just going right back in it. I get the feeling we're going to see Echo die. That's my big death, I think. Seeing Echo die, some of the Bad Batch people. I don't know who else we could see die on screen. I don't know who else could we see as a character that die other than like the clones. Obviously, Rex isn't. We know that he's going to survive and go on.
Well, I think any of the Jedi. I mean, we saw a good number of Jedi die in Revenge of the Sith, but there are a lot of them that we know from the Clone Wars that we got to know really up close and personal that didn't. We never got to see how they passed. So maybe there's an opportunity here to show us more of what happens with Order 66 and seeing more of the Jedi, go on, or maybe like Quinlan Voss, like what happens to him? Like,
that would.
I mean, all these Jedi that we know ended up living, or maybe they
Kanan.
show what's that? Yeah, like Kanan. Yeah, good example.
Maybe they'll show. I mean, we've seen it in a comic, but maybe we'll see something.
They cast anew.
Yeah, that would be interesting too.
Yeah, but I'm just like watching her. I mean, they can't spend too much time on this because otherwise they're going to get stuck in the Jedi Temple, and it turns into Anakin going around killing people. And I don't think that's really where the show's going. I think we get bits and pieces of it, but I think it's all going to be out in these little skirmishes that are happening all over the galaxy more than what's happening in the Jedi Temple. But nonetheless, I think that would be a way to fill in, 2-3 minutes, which is a lot, with additional content that helps build out what the Order 66 was and help kind of flesh out even further than what we saw in the Revenge of Sith movie.
It's interesting. Well, my commander is in there, Commander Bakara. He's he was in that hologram. I would like to see more of the Galactic Marines. That would be fun. I don't know, Kudamunde. I always get his name wrong because, well, I get every.
Mundi, yeah.
Yeah, sure, exactly, because I get every name wrong. So it is what it is. I don't think we'll see that, but we're going to see something there. I don't know. I would like to see Anakin. Obviously the first episode is going to be, I think, Bo and explaining it to Ahsoka why they need her, and she starts to fight, and then they're kind of overwhelmed, and maybe Ahsoka and her and Maul fight, but she loses, and then they're kind of figuring out what they got to do, and then Bo signals the Jedi, and then we get that scene where Anakin shows up, and the whole HoloNet there, and the hologram, and how that works. We can all question how it works, and that's what we get. And then the next episode is them kind of reuniting and all that other stuff. But maybe episode 3 is him and Obi-Wan leaving to go save the Chancellor, and then everything hits the fan. That's kind of where I'm going with this. I think. I don't know. What do you think of that? Where do you think we're gonna land with Obi-Wan? And I mean, are they going somewhere else other than to save the Chancellor? I could imagine it's going to save the Chancellor.
Yeah, it's going to have to be. I would imagine they're going to have to cut into that, right? Because if we think about the timeline, they leave to do that, and then we know, we suspect we're going to see Order 66. So yes, at some point they are going to have to go off to help and save the Chancellor. I would like to see that, although again, I think it's going to pull away from the main storyline. I don't know if they'll go there, how they tell that story in a short period of time, because we only have, unless, here's the other thing that I don't know, and maybe it's been released and announced. I don't know how long these episodes are. With The Mandalorian, it was kind of fluctuating here and there.
Yeah.
These seem to be pretty set on
24, 23-ish. Sure. Yeah.
Right.
Because we've got no commercials, so they're like right at the mark, really.
Yeah. But it would be great if they extended the episodes, then yes, I think there's a lot of opportunity to see even more things that we aren't suspecting to see, given what we've seen so far in like trailers and previews and that kind of thing. But so yeah, I think that's going to factor into it. I'd like to think that they would extend these, or I hope they would extend them. The reality is, I don't think they will, just because of how much it costs. I mean, we've heard that forever since the Clone Wars is on, is how expensive these things are to do. So all that equals more time. So
yeah, and what would be nice is when they leave and you see them taking off, and maybe you get them jetting off. You hear the song that was playing at the beginning of Revenge of the Sith.
Oh,
maybe
Battle of Coruscant movie or something.
Yeah, you see that happening. Like maybe you see that point. That would be pretty cool, because that kind of ties in with the original Clone Wars cartoon where they flew in at that point. So it would tie it in nice. I would like to see some kind of an homage to the original Clone Wars cartoon in that way. That would be pretty cool.
Right.
But other than that, I don't know what else to. I think it's going to be somewhat predictable. I don't know. I think Bo survived, right? She was in Rebels, right? Yep. If I remember right. Yeah. So she survives. Do we see Sabine at all? No, I don't think we'd see Sabine or anything like. Yeah,
no, her mom is there right now, but she's part of the Night Owls. She's not even like, I don't even know that she's.
Did we see her though?
Yeah, we saw her in the last episode. Yeah, I would think we would. I mean, they've already kind of established her as a character in the last 2 episodes. They showed her face at least finally. They've given her the name. We confirmed that is her.
That's right. Yeah.
So I think they would show her. I think, and it's a good way to kind of help tie and bridge that to Rebels later down the road. The whole Mandalorian thing, it feels, Bo-Katan's about to take this back, and once the Empire comes in, they're going to throw her right out again, right? So Gar Saxon comes in, he's going to replace them. I don't know if they'll dive into that a little bit, but that would be an opportunity to kind of establish some of the characters from the Mandalorian. So I think one of the things that I would like to see, and I haven't really put too much thought around it or framed it much, but if there's a way for them to introduce little Easter eggs for things that we would see in the Mandalorian, either things we've seen already with some of the Mando tribes or the clans, right?
Yeah.
Maybe they show that, or we get the Vizsla character, who knows? Whatever that is, that would be great to see. Or they establish something now that we see in season 2, which would be, I think Dave wouldn't be above doing. So,
oh yeah, he would definitely do something. I would like to see the armorer in some way.
Oh yeah, there you go.
Because she's got the Maul things on. Maybe she's crafting him the saber or something. Maybe she does. Right. That would be pretty interesting, and that's why she's got the horns or something. I don't know. They could go a few different ways. I do expect it to be a grandioso finale. I think there'll be some surprises. The deaths, I don't know. I'm not even expecting a lot of deaths, other than I'd rather see more internal conflict of after everything hit the fan kind of things. Like all right, all this happened. Like Ahsoka's off on the run. Maybe we see her get in touch with Bail, like in the book, and she becomes Fulcrum. Maybe we see something like that at the end. Rex, maybe he goes off and finds Gregor or something. I don't know how, because we don't even know how they met up again at all, or Wolf, or how that all happened.
Yeah, I don't know if they all jumped into a ship together and left. They've been stuck ever since, or they hooked up together later down the road.
Yeah. Oh, Chris is Jonesy's leaving. We love you, Jonesy. I guess we won't be talking on the phone now. Sorry to say. Well, I guess we won't be trying that, will we? So anyway, I guess we'll continue on with the Clone Wars. So, well, I guess we could leave it at that, Albert. I mean, it's going to be a fun time. It'll be awesome. I think we're going to get emotional. I'm going to get emotional. I know I'm going to get emotional. It's just going to happen.
Yeah. I'm thinking about.
Curious.
No, go ahead.
Go ahead. I was going to say, I'm curious what that look is with Obi-Wan though in the trailer. Like why that has me curious. I don't know why that would. It's going to be something to do with Maul, right? Because Maul's. It's got to be something to do with that and whatever happens there. But anyway, as you were going to say, sir, you were going to say something.
I was trying to think about, I'm almost toying with the idea of doing like a quick show on Friday mornings, Friday afternoons.
Oh, wow.
So
this quarantine thing is really bringing out the content.
Yeah, exactly. No, well, the thing is, I've been watching these at 2 a.m. Like I've been staying up to watch every one of these episodes at 2 a.m. I'm going to bed at 3 a.m.
Mm-hmm.
And
I want you to do the show at 3:30 in the morning so you can be really tired and hilarious when you do it. Yeah, do that. No, but anyway,
I'll do that.
Sorry.
No, and that's really what I was thinking about doing, is doing some kind of a show to kind of just capture our thoughts here on that Friday and release it that Friday, rather than waiting for the weekly show. It almost feels like, because we are coming down to the wire, there's only 4 episodes left.
Yeah, true. Yeah.
They could probably just, take one for the team and get these out. But maybe we can talk offline a little bit.
Oh yeah, that's fine. No, I'm good with that. I think it deserves that. It's kind of it's.
Hey man, I camped out for episode 1, man.
I didn't do that. See, I never waited out in lines. I never did that. I just kind of I'll go at like noon the next day. Man. I know. Well, I can't stand lines. It's one of my pet peeves. I can't do it. It's just, I don't know. It's been my thing. But anyway, is there anything else you would like to add, Albert? Is there anything on the table you want to discuss? It can be anything. I don't care what it is. You can bring it up if you want to talk anything Star Wars, anything on the docket that you want to talk about. Critique how awful I am as a podcaster. We could do that. Anything. I know you're searching, you're thinking. I'm a little scared. Oh, he disappeared. Oh, Kylo Ren.
No, I'm kidding. I don't. No.
Come on.
I'm trying to think. Do I got anything else I want to talk about? At some point we need to talk more about Star Wars video games. Not now, but
as long as it's not SOTOR, that we're good. That's fine.
By the way, I ordered my.
You really,
keyboard.
You really did.
I did.
You are a completionist. Then you got the headset. Now you get the keyboard.
Yes, I don't have the mouse pad though. That is the other thing that's eluded me for very long. The keyboard, the headset, and the mouse were quick picks. I picked those up pretty quickly. However, I'm sorry. The headset and the mouse. The keyboard was way too expensive, and it's been too expensive. But yeah, I found a pretty good deal on it. I'm pretty excited. And once I have it, I will post pictures of it, because I know everybody's just waiting on bated breath to see.
I'm not. I can tell you that.
Keyboard that I picked up. No, but there's a lot to be said about Star Wars video games. I'm surprised no one's actually done a show or anything about playing the games and chronicling them and all of that. I think that would be really interesting, because there really are a lot of video games out there now. Not all of them are good.
Well, I got one right behind me here.
I can see it. Yeah, I've been watching it flicker back there.
That is usually on at all times, because it plays the sound effects, and it's got the light up marquee. So I have to have that one. That's my baby out of the collection there.
So what I was going to ask you then, I'm trying to build up to a question here, but apart from trying to come up with another show idea, I guess what is overall, what has always been your favorite Star Wars game? What have
Oh, well, I would say for me, because I didn't play a lot of arcade, I played those obviously. Yeah. Not a lot of them though, because for me, going to the arcade was a treat. I would go occasionally. I went frequently. It wasn't but it was a treat. It was I had a bad week at school. We're going there. I got A's on my report card or something. We're going there, or a birthday party or something like that. It wasn't every week, because the arcade wasn't down the street. What I used to do though is go play Pac-Man and Frogger up at the sandwich shop that was up the street from me, because that's where the arcade was. That was my arcade, really. Those two games, that's all I had. They'd swap them out. That's all.
And that was in the 80s where everybody had an arcade game.
Exactly. Yeah,
it may have not been the one you wanted. Everybody had one in their store, though.
And you played it. You just your parents said, "Here's some quarters. Get the hell out of my hair," and you went and played it. But Star Wars games, the one I think that means a lot to me is probably Battlefront 2, the original, because I used to come home and just play that. It was great. I love being the clone, going around doing my thing. That was a lot of fun. I liked playing that one. And I know, people dog on Bounty Hunter, but I liked Bounty Hunter. It wasn't the greatest game in the world. I bet if I played it now, I'd be like, why did you even like this? It's this is awful. But for the most part, I always thought Star Wars games were kind of a miss for the most part, because even like with Battlefront, the Force Unleashed and the Battlefront series both had this stigma with me. Like, I saw the Force Unleashed as a very unpolished game, and then Force Unleashed 2 was the actual game that you were supposed to get, and it was polished and it worked better. Same thing with Battlefront 1 and 2. I thought the same thing. Maybe I'm wrong with that. I could be wrong. I played Galaxies, but that was just horrible. I didn't get into that, the MMO stuff. It just, I will say SOTOR is a lot better than Galaxies. I'll give you that. So, there's that. But I don't know. What about you? What was your favorite? I assume you played the arcade games, obviously. But you, for a console game, what was your favorite?
Console game. I'm glad you narrowed it down, because I was going to say SOTOR. The console games.
Yeah. Well, the MMO doesn't count. But go ahead.
I don't know. Super Star Wars was a lot of fun. I had a great time playing that. The original Star Wars for the NES. That was a ton of fun. I got to say, right now, the mobile game Star Wars Galaxy of Heroes, that's been out for almost 3-4 years now.
Everyone says that. It's fun.
It's amazing. I actually absolutely love it. The problem is, it's like most of these pay to play games, where eventually you hit that wall and you can't progress any further without dropping what cost the total income of 25% of your income for the year.
You don't want to do that, no.
And some of us have, but
well, I'm not surprised.
But yeah, that game is great. I really enjoyed that one. I'm trying to think what other games. I mean, Jedi Knight 2 was really good on the PC. Had a lot of fun playing that back in the day. I never got into Galaxies either. I think the big thing that turned me off about Galaxies was how complex they made it to become a Jedi initially.
Yeah,
I think they pulled that back a little bit, but that during that time, I was just all about Jedi and wanted to play a Jedi, and I found no interest in having to grind like that. I was still playing, I think, Ultima Online at the time, or maybe Dark Age of Camelot or something. So I was already kind of invested in games and thought, there's no way I'm going to spend all this time, money trying to do that when I may have a shot at becoming a Jedi. So I never even touched it. But I liked the Force Unleashed. I really did. I liked the first one. It was just a pure adrenaline rush, and being able to do things that we'd never been able to do before in Star Wars games, which was really fun. And then, of course, the arcade games. I'm still like you. The original Star Wars vector graphics one is still one of my favorites. Love that. Still played it to death. Like when we were out in Chicago last year, I think that was the one game I played the most while we were out there.
Well, it's funny because I laughed because my daughter actually likes playing the Return of the Jedi one.
Oh my goodness!
Because you get and that is like the worst,
the hardest thing in the game.
That's like Ghosts and Goblins of Star Wars. You don't want to play that one. It's a quarter muncher. It's going to drive you absolutely batty and crazy. But she loves playing it.
How far has she gotten? Has she got off Endor?
Yeah, she's gotten off Endor. But it's nice when you don't have to put your own quarters in there and it's free and you can just keep going and going and going.
Yep.
But she does love Empire. Actually, Empire is probably her favorite out of the 3 games that are on there, because you got the original New Hope, Empire, and then you got Return of the Jedi. And she loves that one. So, and they're all fun. They're great. But like even here, they did a good job of replicating the vector graphics. But it's funny because I have asteroids, and then when we went out to there, and you see the asteroid machine with the vector graphics, and then the Star Wars.
Brighter?
Yeah, it's like you
more vibrant.
Yeah, like that. The original is just like, and I get why the people that collect the arcade games are like, no, you need the original for that, because they blow everything else out. Like, this is not bad, home use and for fun, but nothing beats that. The way that looks is like, I don't know, I can't describe it. It's an awesome thing. Oh, hey, he's back. Oh, well, maybe we'll try to call him in a minute. But we'll continue on with the game. So
no, No, I was gonna say that's probably it. I'm trying to think of other games. I mean, TIE Fighter 2. I could go on and on about all these video games. I played
Well, my daughter likes, because we got the Legends Ultimate over here from At Games, and Super Star Wars is on there.
Yeah,
and she loves playing that. She likes that. She likes all the games. It's funny how she like drawn to these games. It's funny. She gets really into it too. She's worse than me. But anyway,
the other two that I'll mention, Battlefront 2.
Okay.
Still is a lot of fun. Like my sons and I play that quite often together.
The new one. You're talking
the new one. The new one, yeah.
Yeah.
They've just, it's so different. They've made so many changes now with regards to the characters and how easy it is to unlock things and all that. It was a hard road to get to where they're at today. But I will say that game is
how's the story?
The story has not developed since.
Oh, okay. Oh, I'm just curious how that was. I mean,
but what they did with Ida and Versio, though, I thought that was great.
Now that I would love to see in The Mandalorian, Iden come about. Yes, I would love to see that. That would be cool. Somehow, some way.
Cameo.
Yeah.
Well,
she looks exactly like it. So,
yeah.
So why are you not doing it? And she's so you should.
Yeah, but no big surprise. SWTOR War is my favorite all time.
I don't get that. I just don't get it. I mean, let me ask you this. Did you beat the game pretty quickly? I'd imagine you did, because I did fairly well. Like
the single player, well, it depends, right? I mean, there's like every character has a storyline, and eventually they, once you got to the point where they all came together and then you finished on that same exact storyline. That was pretty, I mean, I probably sunk about 30, 40 hours into it, because I was I'm a completionist, right? So maybe that's part of why I enjoy this game, because there's so much to do. I mean, you can really go off on all these side quests and collect everything and do all that. But if you're just playing the main line, it's probably about a 30-hour time sink at the time. Now it's way less than that. But the amount of content they've released since then, the amount of storyline they've released since then is pretty expansive. But when I first started playing it, yes, I got through the main storyline, single player stuff pretty quickly. The online multiplayer end game content, that was the stuff that took a lot longer. And I know, only if there was one, right? And there really are. But that was really rough. There were a lot of glitches, a lot of stuff, but it took about 2 years. And I know they lost a lot of people in those 2 years before they got it right. But when they got it right, it was a big payoff. I really, really enjoyed that.
Yeah, I don't know.
That's where the keyboard's coming.
Great. Well, what are you doing? You're gonna show something, aren't you? What is that? The encyclopedia? What do you need an encyclopedia? It's none of it's canon.
Who cares?
It's
canon
not,
here.
No, it's not. Although it'd probably be a better story than the sequel trilogy. I gotta stop doing that. It's so old now. It's like it's not even funny. It's just stupid now. But anyway, well, I think we're gonna end the show here. We've gone over an hour. Chris, Jonesy, are you around for me to call you for like 5 seconds here? Because we can try this. I don't know if this is gonna work. We're gonna find out real soon if this works. Let's see.
While you're doing that, I have a question.
Okay.
Anybody that's listening, what do you think is going to happen first? Will Jonesy come back onto the show, or will the coronavirus have a vaccine found? So send us and tweet us your answers. Let us know which one. My guess is the coronavirus will end before Jonesy's back on the show.
Okay, we're gonna try. Let's see. Actually, Jonesy, call me. See if, because I don't know if I have your right number. It says home, but it should be your cell phone. So I don't know what the deal is here. Hold on.
This is where we need the Jeopardy music or Yakety Sax. The sing song from Benny Hill that needs to be playing right now.
Wait a minute. I think I can call him. Let's do this. I'm doing it. I'm all right. We're doing it. Hello? I don't think this is working.
Of course not. You're doing it.
See, it's not working.
God. He's in a stormtrooper helmet. I can hear him. I heard him.
Well, yeah, he is, but it's not working on the phone here. I don't know why. Let's see. I don't know why that's not working. Oh, here we go. Go ahead. Try that.
Here we go.
Hey, guys. What's going on?
Oh, my God.
Look at this. It's a reunion. Look at that.
Yeah, it's been a year since we've been together, so we might as well just call it an anniversary of sorts.
Wow, this is a first on many levels. This is the first live phone call we could actually ever do on the show. So, congratulations, Jonesy. You're the first.
Hey, welcome back, you slacker. Where you been?
I've always wanted to be Mike's first for something.
Well,
I'm glad this was it.
Oh, here we go. Now the CAD is in the D is in CAD at this point.
Right.
Yes, I'm
welcome, yeah.
I'm a little shy now.
He's
I'm flustered. Look it up.
You're so cute when you blush.
I'm blushing. I'm blushing right now.
Either that's truly him blushing. So, well, welcome. How you doing, my friend?
No, doing all right, man. Making it through. You guys have been killing it on the podcast. I really enjoyed Michaela and Maggie and everybody filling in, and the shows have been great.
If I had a dime for every time someone asked me, "Where's Jonesy at?" I would be really.
You'd have a nickel.
A nickel. No, it's been more than that. I'll tell you right now.
Well, here's the thing. You get a lot of people asking, "Where's Jonesy been?" Nobody ever asks about me.
No, it's the opposite. Why is Mike on the show?
Yeah, it's always like, why are you bringing him on? Like, I feel bad when I come on. Like, people are like, we don't want you on here. I feel bad that, but Jonesy is coming back. Obviously, we're talking to him. It's good to have you on.
I'm still alive. I promise. There's been a Jonesy sighting every once in a while.
That is true.
Yeah, check your local newspapers for that if you'd like.
Yeah,
that's right. Check your milk carton. Do they still do that on milk cartons?
I don't think so.
Lost podcasters. I don't know.
well, we can make a T-shirt with your face on a milk carton if you want. That's an idea, Albert.
You guys keep talking. I'll pull up Photoshop right now.
Okay. Well, so
he's not joking, people.
No, I know that. Well, he will spend a whole day doing this one particular thing just to make a T-shirt, which would
it will be epic when he's done.
Well, that is true. Yes. Well, thank you for joining us tonight, Jonesy, in the chat room. There, you were on fire there.
This was fun, man. I was actually a little heartbroken not to be part of the whole reboot thing. So I'm glad you were able to give me a shout or give me a call and be able to talk to y'all for a few minutes.
I know. Well, this is I'm just amazed that I was smart enough to get this to whole work. Like the board is working. I get a phone call going into the board, and we're able to talk. I'm just amazed because you know how me, like with the website and everything, Jonesy. You know how I screw that all up. So in any case,
well,
yeah.
I mean, you do your best. I mean, we forgive you.
Yeah,
I think the one thing I'm worried about though. This show is now pushing a bit long, and usually the editor gets pissed about this point. So I don't know. You've got some decisions to make here. Otherwise, you're just going to hate yourself.
I got whiskey to get me through this, sir. And the good news is this is all going to be on one track, and I don't have to edit much of anything. I just have to slap it and edit.
Oh, so it's like every other episode of the
Cantina. They're no different than the other episode.
I'm very
inside joke.
I'm very upset with the both of you now because all that work I put into. Although I have to admit, like the last episode was very easy. Just we line up. Actually, most of it you just line up the tracks and it's all magic from there because it's not that bad. But so what's going on, Chris? You good? You're all set there.
When are you coming back? Are you going to be able to answer that right now? Do you want to give our listeners a tease?
Oh, geez.
A tease.
Keep your shirt on, too.
Put your shirt on, baby. Sorry, that's an old Jeff Foxworthy joke for the people who are old enough to remember Jeff Foxworthy.
That's the three of us. That's it.
Yeah, that's about all of us. Yeah. I'm kind of hoping by the end of May if everything goes well. So we'll see how that works out.
Well, he might be coming. He might be like coming down with the coronavirus. Like the peak might happen, and he's coming back with it. Like
coincidence? I don't think so.
Yeah, that's true.
Right. Yeah. There's always an excuse.
Well, let me ask you this, Chris, because you why do I keep calling you Chris? Jonesy, let me ask you this. I don't know. You know what? I'm looking over at the side where the chat is, and it says Chris, and I'm so used to call.
You're like Will Ferrell and Anchorman. You just read whatever's on the telephone.
Exactly. If I can read, I can't even read. But what do you think? Do you think because at the top of the show, I'm sure you saw it, or maybe you saw it or heard it, or when you came in at some point. What do you think of the Celebration? Because you're going to Celebration, right? You have the tickets. Do you think it's going to happen or no?
Yeah, I've got tickets. I mean, like Albert was saying, with the state of California saying 2021, they're not the only place saying that they're canceling events until through the rest of this year. So it would not surprise me if I don't think they would defer it. I think they would just do another one next year. I mean, we didn't expect them to do one this year, right?
That's true.
Expected already. So.
Yeah.
Them just to say, cancel it and move on to the next place. I'm just curious what is the next place? Have they already decided that? I'm assuming they've already booked these things that far out, but
well, I wonder if they could bring it to like another venue, like Orlando, because Florida seems more open than say California, right? So maybe they go to Orlando to do it, or do they go to Chicago again?
Yeah, I mean, that's the question we've been asking, right? Are they going to rotate this thing across? I mean, is it really just a 3-city tour type of thing with Anaheim, Orlando, and Chicago, or is it going to be where they just find the best place, for that year to do it? I mean, Albert and I would love for this thing to be in like Dallas or something like that.
Yeah,
they can accommodate this type of venue in Dallas or even here in Houston. But absolutely. Yeah, I mean, but you still figure it's going to stick to one of these main hubs of kind of normal activity and where there's entertainment and other things going on. So, you kind of think maybe those 3 are still here to stay unless they went and tried to do like a New York, New Jersey thing, but that would be pretty insane. That would actually be pretty wild if they actually entertain that kind of idea.
Well, I personally, I think this whole year is lost. Like it's the lost year. It's over with. Like, let's not even talk about having these sports because I don't think it's going to happen really. Like even the NFL, I don't think you're going to see any of that. But that's a debate. Well, yeah, go ahead.
And Albert, I got a question for you. With the shows that are currently in development, it's unclear how many, like where they are at in that status. So do we start to see like a push back even further of some of those other shows that were still either in pre-production or whatnot, to where we see delays and we have a gap that we don't feel now, but we feel a gap, the beginning or middle or at some point next year where we think, well, we should be getting content. Why are we not getting content? And now because of this, all of those are pushed into either late 2021 or even 2022.
Yeah, I think I think it's all predicated upon whether or not they can actually pull people in to film this stuff, right? Because if they can't film it, then they have no recourse but to push it back. Now, I can see them upping their timelines and getting more aggressive with the filming and post-production work because they've got to recuperate costs and money at this point. They're not making anything. They're not generating revenue. So I think you're going to see a huge push once the veils lifted or the safety barriers are removed for them to try to get something out there as quickly as possible. And hopefully they don't sacrifice quality for this, but yeah, I guess it's going to be a mad rush to start pulling in income and revenue from this thing going as long as it has.
Right. And Mike, so follow up on that one. So we've already speculated this might be true anyway, since we haven't heard much about Cassian Andor. Do you play it safe now with what you develop and what you actually release? Do you pull forward Kenobi as much as possible and you do what Albert was saying, you expedite that, hopefully not sacrificing quality, but you prioritize that over Andor even more so than maybe you already were, given the notoriety of Ewan McGregor as well as just Obi-Wan Kenobi in general with the Star Wars fandom?
I would, but here's the thing. They just got another writer, right? So they're in the middle of trying to figure out that show. Unless they can do it with, we all have a lot of time on our hands right now. So maybe they can figure it out in this downtime. Like, all right, I'm writing out the whole 2 seasons right now. Kathleen, do you approve it, or Dave, or whoever is in charge, or Deborah Chow? What's going on here? Do you like this? Let's go with it. Here it is. And what do you guys think? And then go from there. So when it does, like Albert said, when the veil comes up, we can all hit it right fast. And we can get that out there. Andor seems like it still seems further away than where Kenobi is at this point. Like Kenobi, it's a writing thing and it's a mess, but I feel like even this isn't going to help Kenobi as well either. I think they're both going to get pushed back like a year and a half. In my mind, I could be completely wrong. I mean, and then you got to even think like The Mandalorian season 3. I mean, they start filming in October. So by then you got to assume things will be almost back to normal where they could start filming that stuff and that they might not miss a beat at all. The Mandalorian, they might actually come out of this fairly well considering, but I think with Kenobi, has a better shot than like Andor. I think Andor is still trying to get its idea of what it's going to be. They kind of have an idea with Kenobi, but I don't know. It's an interesting question. I really don't have an answer because everything's up in the air really. So.
Well, and I don't think that Mandalorian is out of the weeds yet.
No, you don't think so?
We know they wrapped up, photography, and we know they wrapped up shooting and all of that good stuff. But how far did they get with post-production? When are they going to be able to resume post-production? Or are they able to do it in smaller batches now at all? to where they can keep it moving forward? How able and capable are they to work remotely? If that's the situation, these are smaller companies. I don't know how many people they have in an office to know how just logistically, what do you want to do with people, and then how do you do it?
Well, if they get
the sheer processing power and everything you need these days for graphics and for effects.
Well, that's true. I was going to say, well, you get the guy that made the ship. He built it in his garage, for God's sakes. Maybe something like that can happen. I don't know. I mean, again, like I was talking at the top of the show with The Walking Dead, and I mentioned that the whole, I don't want to rehash everything, but the last episode, they were only 2 weeks away and they hadn't finished the visual effects and the sound effects and all that goes in the episode. The filming and everything and the edit was done, but they have to add that other stuff in after the fact. And they typically only do that a few weeks out, apparently. I didn't know that. So that was new to me. So like I was trying to say at the top of the show, is it going to be they got 4 episodes done already, or do they not? Because the other thing is, like, when you hear about The Rise of Skywalker, they were watching dailies every day and he was kind of editing as he was going. Is that the case with, like, say, The Mandalorian? Did they do that to save time? Like, they were just kind of doing their thing? I don't know. I mean, I don't know.
Well, they were on a pretty aggressive timeline. Maybe Albert has more insight into some of this, but when you're on that aggressive timeline, especially with television shows, I would imagine that editing on the fly or doing this in real time is a bit it's a bit tough to do, because you're trying to do this in a pretty small window. Because I mean, we remember this with the prequels too. George Lucas was looking at dailies every single night, and I imagine they have that capability with TV shows. But how much editing they're truly doing, and that when they're trying to knock out a shoot, and I don't know how many weeks they churn these things out for of actual on-set activity, but it seems like that would be really, really difficult to do given the cost of these shows, and that it is kind of television based, and you're trying to still maintain and control some of that cost.
Well, you got to think, like, The Mandalorian is no more than 40 minutes, though. I mean, that's a lot, but it's not a lot when you compare it to, like, a movie.
You're right, but if you look at what was the budget for the whole season of Mandalorian?
Oh, I can't. That would probably
120, 130 million. Was it something like that?
Could be, yeah. It's a lot.
About half the cost of a movie. So if you go to, like, if you do a ratio of that, it's more expensive to produce the TV show than it is to produce a full budget 2-hour movie. Maybe my numbers are wrong. I've been out of the game for a while.
Listen, I can't even do numbers. I mean, so you're better than me. I'm certainly not my daughter's math teacher. I can tell you that. That duty I don't do. But anyway.
Actually, my math is probably wrong on that one.
Well,
but anyway, you kind of get the point, though. I mean, you got to do it for multiple episodes. Each one has a different director, and so you're bringing things in and out. You're still trying to leverage time and leverage your sets and everything else. But I don't know. It's kind of an interesting period we're in, and we won't always know the impact. Kind of like the economy and everything else. You won't really know and understand the impact for many months to come. This isn't something that's just going to be decided, or we're going to feel it day one when everything kind of resume some sort of normalish type of activity. It's the delays and everything you're not going to feel for many months, and potentially even like a year on some of these movies. And we've seen that, the Marvel movies being pushed back, delaying, maybe going straight to home, which I don't think that's a sustainable. I think that's always an immediate response to an immediate problem.
Yeah.
So they could leverage something, because they were just going to get screwed at the box office. So they had to do something to drive subscriptions and recover some of that in some way. But that's a concern. I mean, how much money is there to make movies? Because the economy might be a little bit tough.
True.
So it's going to be an interesting issue, but these industries tend to be fairly resilient at some point.
I don't think you can see it, Jonesy, but
the milk carton.
Yeah. But Albert did do the milk carton, and I
haven't finished it yet. I found the perfect picture.
That's
I was good.
That picture is on the way home from Chicago.
Yep.
Yes, that's the perfect image.
Last known image of Jonesy.
Right,
public image. The last public.
Oh my God! I'm finally away from Mike Rondo.
Yeah.
Well, you're not the first to have that look after they've been with me, so it is what it is.
I will finish that up, and we'll get it posted on social media.
Oh, can't wait for that one. Oh man, what are you going to put on the bottom? Are you going to put anything missing?
Missing. I'll put the dates, and then I'll put the number on there, which will go right back to our cast number. So.
Oh Jesus! Oh my God! Oh, I saw Jonesy at Walmart wearing a bandana. Yeah, we'll get all that.
It's going to be like Bigfoot sightings. It's going to be everywhere. Flea markets, nurseries.
Well, Jonesy,
There's too much.
let me ask you one last question, and we'll end on this. Because Albert had asked me on 319 what I was looking forward to, and then I kind of asked Albert what he wasn't looking forward to. So we'll split the difference. What are you looking forward to, or what aren't you looking forward to when it comes to Star Wars in the next years or so, or whatever, in the next year or so? Feel free.
I think the thing that we're most curious about overall is where are you taking the franchise, and what is actually going to stick for the things that they're developing. So when you look at like High Republic, the Clone Wars is going to be done and over with. That's wrapping up. But then we see, the Mandalorian but it's like, what is it that's going to grab our interest? I think Albert and I have talked about this before, and I'm sure with some of the ladies' sense, but what is the thing that's going to root this generation of Star Wars fans and start to introduce the next generation that's going to stick? Or do you build a franchise around something new that's going on that you're able to develop? Because that's where the future. I mean, we're all worried about Star Wars dying with our generation or even maybe the sequel trilogy generation, because those characters presumably aren't coming back in a lot of in a lot of different ways. And so what are the stories that are going to take us forward that's going to still feel like Star Wars, and it re-energizes us, that says, this is something brand new that we can really, wrap our arms around. And Mandalorian, I think, is a great example of how you can do it right. I'm a little concerned that it's starting to get a little bit, I don't want to call it force heavy, but we didn't expect to see really any force in the Mandalorian, right? We went into it, we thought it was just going to be this gritty kind of Western type of thing. So is that sustainable when you don't have Jedi and Force and all this other stuff? Because let's just be honest, that's kind of the heart of what Star Wars is that, mythology and that mythological type of feeling to it all. And we want something that recaptures that. And I think, Albert, you mentioned this on maybe an episode or two ago, but the Galaxy of Adventure stuff is really, really cool. I know we talked about the animation is a bit over the top, but this integration of what we love and what sells it to new generations, there's something there, I think, because when I look at these videos, they're really, really good.
Yeah.
And they're really entertaining. And even though they're in bite-sized kind of format, which I think is, a product of this generation a bit, but it opens that door to where you can, there's an appetite, I think, that says, you can take this style and do something and reimagine, which is more of a Disney term, reimagine the original trilogy. And you could do it in a way that doesn't offend the original fan base, right? The older fan base. And I think it would be an interesting dynamic to explore for them to, try to bridge those two worlds. And you could introduce other voice actors. I mean, you could get those replacements and you could start to change people's minds, because we had it with Matt Lanter and Obi. Oh God, I'm drawing a blank on his name from Obi-Wan Kenobi.
Jonathan.
Jonathan Taylor Thomas.
Yeah. Yes, thank you.
No.
Not Jonathan Taylor Thomas.
No,
that's from
that's
Home Improvement.
I was making a joke.
Yeah, I can't. I love the guy to death, and I can't believe I'm forgetting his name. But
James Arnold Taylor, is that
James
it?
Arnold Taylor.
Yes.
Thank you so much. Yeah.
Yeah, no problem.
Those voices are as iconic to those characters now as as the actors like Ewan McGregor and company that did the physical representation of those characters. So there's ways you can do it, and you can do it right. And Filoni and company have proven that. But anyway, so in a nutshell, I want to know, what is it that's going to keep us enticed and really motivate us for the next 10 years? They've got to start building it now, because quite honestly, there's nothing really sitting there that's going to build it for that duration right now.
So you don't think the High Republic's going to sell it?
I don't know.
Yeah.
I mean, I just don't know. I mean, we actually have to see them produce something. And
no, that's true.
It's difficult to sell people on comic books and novels.
Yeah. Sadly,
we love the comic books and novels. There's some fantastic stories there. There's also some duds, but you have got to translate something into the mass media markets of television or a movie or something like that, in order to really bring everybody to get it to that kind of mass appeal and that critical mass where you can actually turn a profit on that stuff. And again, it's not about it's about retaining your fan base now, but it's also about growing it and building it when we're concerned that it's contracting right now rather than expanding.
Fair point. Well, I guess that's I think that's all we got. We've gone an hour and 23 minutes or so. Albert's hard at work making the milk carton, I think.
Yes, I'm trying to get the text just right. But yeah, thanks for having us on the show, Mike, and thanks for putting this together.
Oh, we'll take one last look at this.
Oh,
Look at this.
yeah.
This is if found, please contact. Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well,
So it's coming along. We'll get to this here a little bit later, though. This will be my project. I'll be up till 2 a.m, ensuring that the font's just right, everything's lined up perfectly.
Oh man. Well, guys, I think we're gonna end it there. Jonesy, thanks for calling in. Or did I call? No, I called you. So I guess yeah. So yeah, that's a kind
your people finally called my people.
Oh yeah.
We'll start contract negotiations in a few weeks.
Yeah. Well, I don't know if we can afford you in this economy, sir. So just keep that in mind. But anyway, this has been fun. It was a good little chat. Jonesy, thank you for joining us. It was nice to hear your sultry voice once again on the Cantina cast. Oh, Albert, don't roll your eyes. It was a pleasure as well, Albert, as always, talking things. We've had a good the last 2 episodes we've done together. We had a good back and forth. It's been pretty fun. It's almost like I have a pulse almost, like, because those other episodes I was kind of bad. I gotta admit, I wasn't that good. Not that I'm good in any episode.
You're in a different state of mind at this point. So
maybe that could be it. So, in any case, we're out of here, everybody. We will see you guys on the next one. Thanks for joining us. Adios.
You're still listening? Wow. That's amazing. Well, I'm here to give you the disclaimer. Normally we do a big, long, drawn-out disclaimer thing saying what's what and who's what and all that other stuff, but I think you guys kind of know that Lucasfilm and Disney have no affiliation with us at all, and we have none with them. We talk about Star Wars, which is their property, and all that other good, fun stuff, but I think you can tell which is our stuff and which is their stuff. If you can't, well, then send a lawyer to send an email to me, and I'll be glad to chat with them. Other than that, you know what's what, so that's your disclaimer.